I went to Northwestern, honey. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She probably slept with her professors. Oh, did I just say that out loud?
Marking that 45 for 3, because that's the intro.
Big dogs are in the house!
Hey! The 84 jersey's out, man. I think this is going to be a fun ride.
Bye, Felicia.
Inside the lane, tries left. Taunted by Parks! Oh my goodness! Where did he come from? Behind the back jam by the big team. This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Practice like this? Up! We up!
Straight cash, homie.
And boom goes the dynamite.
Clock's full of bullshit, so.
Home run! Welcome back, Lou Collins!
Welcome back to Thunderdome for yet another Wild Over Lightning in 6 edition of Andy Must Die Minnesota Sports Talk. Kinda. I'm your not-so-humble co-host at Andy Carlson Show on Twitter, riding shotgun with my partner in crime, a woman who has never said, "I'm in the news, sweetheart," at Murphy MN. Hey, how's it going?
How's it going, Andy?
Although, I'm going to go on a limb and say that you freaked out on a hood rat a time or two in your life.
No, because I just don't. I mean, I treat people because the way you treat. I mean, I treat people the way I want them to be treated. So, and personally, when someone is like a cashier or a waitress or a waiter, I mean, you gain nothing by treating these people poorly. I mean, they're doing their job. So, no, I would say no, I'm not. If someone has gotten in my face, I would certainly defend myself, but I don't go on the offensive.
Now, what about the time that you keyed Bryant McKinney's car?
He got in my face, Andy, and I had to send a message.
Do you know how long it takes to properly key a Hummer?
I'm a very patient person.
It's like a boat. All right.
It pretty much is.
They don't make them anymore. Yeah, but anyways,
because they were terrible vehicles. I mean, They were just so stupid.
Yeah. We're on the Twitter machine at Andy Must Die, one word, and the website is andymustdie.com. And we already got a little off track, but yeah, whatevs. This is free-flowing, just kind of BS and conversation. I think we've been missing that.
Yeah, we needed to do a little bit more of that, I think.
All right, so, hey, how's your week?
It's been pretty good. The new place is fantastically awesome, and we're pretty much unpacked now, which took us about 3 weeks. I'm going to Vegas in 11 days.
What? For what?
So, yeah. My husband has a conference, something or other out there. So, and it's at the Venetian. It's like a huge deal. And so, his airfare is covered. Our hotel is covered. Basically, when he's busy during the day, I can just go shopping or gamble or lay by the pool.
You're going to get drunk. You're going to walk into the Sands poker room in the Venetian, and you're going to play some 4-8 limited hold'em, and you're going to rock.
And I'm going to win. I'm going to win all the monies.
It's not a bad plan.
No, I mean it's pretty good.
So
actually, it's kind of cool because his employer they've hired, I think, Fallout Boy and One Republic. They're having come and do a concert there. So I mean that's not really necessarily my favorite thing ever, but free concert.
See, it's
not bad.
That's just how fat and bloated some corporations are, because I'll probably venture out to say 85% of the employees don't give a hoot about Fall Out Boy or One Republic. They're just pretty psyched to have the free Vegas trip. But no, let's just throw $20,000 at 2 bands that nobody cares about from 2011.
Well, I mean, whatever works. If it makes your people like you said, they just want the free trip.
Yeah. And plus, since they redid the Venetian poker room, it's really, really nice. It's amazeballs now.
I've not been there. I know that I've looked at the rooms online and they're just gorgeous.
Now, are you at the Venetian or the Palazzo?
The Venetian.
Okay. It's nice. Plus the shopping.
Isn't the other one the super fancier one?
I'm actually not sure if it's super fancy. I just know it's the sister building that's all hotels. Oh, actually, I think there's some gaming in the Palazzo, but she's speechless. And we're waiting to get back. Uh-oh. No, we got the submarine sound. I'm just going to leave this in because this is how we really roll. So I'm going to play the sound effects. You mean, oh, good for you?
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Hello?
I get hello, a little ding. Just pretend that I made a little joke. Little rim shot. Hey, there we go. We had you back. I'm going to leave that in because
Oh, really?
I think I vamped pretty well. And plus I played around with the soundboard, so it's all good.
Oh, cool. Look
Yeah.
forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, your kids are almost out of school with summer, and since you're like a teaching professional, what do you
My kids are, yep.
What do you usually do in summer? Do you look forward to summer, or not really, since you're going to be cooped up with them, or you just let them run?
No, I love summer because what we do is we make a bucket list, and it's kind of tell me like what they want to do, whether it's
morbid.
camp or classes or go on a day trip or whatever. We make a list of what we're going to do, and then we just chuck through the list as the summer goes on.
Now, have they ever been to summer camp?
Enjoy that. My son went for a week an overnight camp through the YMCA, and he wants to do that again. Maddie's my younger one she's not ready to do that away from home kind of thing.
All right, because my wife has
But
always
I think eventually she would.
My wife's always mentioned that growing up, that she really wanted to go to a summer camp, except she never did, because you see all these TV shows like Salute Your Shorts and Bug Juice make summer camp look all good. Now, I went to a bunch of camps as a Boy Scout, but it's not really the same as like a co-ed camp, if you know what I mean.
Well, no, Andy. I can understand why.
I mean, there's a lot of shenanigans that can happen. I mean, even as a young person, which I'm not going to get into because that would be wrong to have an adult male talk about such things. But, you know. She catches
It would be wrong, probably, yes.
Yep, she catches my drift. Anyways, we have a lot to
Got
get
it.
to tonight and actual sports talk. Who knew? Adrian's stupid, gosh darn agent continues to troll. A Viking schedule gets released. We're going to walk through a schedule, be like, that's a win, that's a loss, and I'll tell you how the Vikings get to 16-0, and then Di will tell us how they get to 2-14, because that's how she rolls. Wolves lottery coming.
I do not have them going 2-14. Andy, come on.
Wolves lottery is coming up. Di goes off today on a little blonde bombshell alluded to in the beginning. Now, what are you going to say about Miss McHenry?
She's not a bombshell. She's not. Someone should probably fix her a sandwich or something because yuck. And two, she's just, I don't understand what gives her the right to completely go off on somebody like that who's just trying to do their job. And I'll save it. I got a lot. I don't want to go off right now.
Yeah, watch your tone, baby girl.
That's right. Got that right.
Oh, my God. There are some fantastic lines that come out of that. But anyways, at the end of the show, your Twitter questions. But first, let's hit with some Minnesota sports news and, Minnesota Wild.
Sports
Who
news.
knew? Dun, sound drop goes here. So, we're recording this, full disclosure, at about quarter to 7 on Wednesday night. There's something going on in northern St. Paul around the river. Was it about 8:30? Some sort of seismic geological earthquake going to happen?
I believe that is, yes, it's going to be the Blues getting their ass kicked again.
All right, so now we were originally planning to record this entire episode, since you're probably listening to this like late Wednesday night, Thursday morning, Friday, etc. And just under the assumption that the Wild won, but we might look kind of stupid. But I think that they go 3-1 tonight because I'm not an elite hockey mind, but I feel like the Blues are set up to have their backs broken because they know that the Wild are a much better team, have 4 strong lines, and they're just resulting to like, when you played sports as a kid and then you're playing like another team or another kid who's just so much better than you, and then you just started playing dirty. That's what the Blues are doing now.
Oh, absolutely. They're playing very dirty, very chippy, trying to go the Wild and taking penalties, which it didn't work. I mean, the Wild didn't take a single penalty on Monday night. So it's not working. Their game isn't working, and they can't compete with the Wild's speed. I mean, they look like they're moving in slow motion compared to the Wild.
Now, the Wild looks like they have 5 Luis Mendozas from D2 the Mighty Ducks out there. Blue line to blue line, he's the fastest skater in the United States.
That's right.
The 14 underage bracket. Now, who is this Ott guy that everyone seems to be talking about? I saw his antics, but I don't really know the story behind him.
You know, he's an agitator. I mean, he's not a finesse player. He's not a skill player. He's an agitator, and that's his role on the team, is to get under the opposing player's skin. And you know, I think it worked a little bit. The second game in St. Louis, I think it worked a little bit. I think the Wild kind of, I mean, especially with like Dubnyk, I think that he got in his head a little bit. So but I think they just rallied and realized, you know what, this isn't how we play. And actually, I saw a quote from Charlie Coyle that said, "We're here to play hockey. We're not here to fight and do all that. That stuff after the whistle doesn't win you games." And he's correct. But if the referees continue to allow that behavior to happen, because there were a lot of after the whistle, you know, kind of stupid things. Like when he patted, God, who was it he patted on the head? He patted one of our younger players on the head, like, "Oh, you're so cute." And it's like, that's just annoying. So whatever. I mean, we're up 2-1. I'm sorry, we're up 3-1, and they can suck it.
Now, I'm really big into cross-sport references to sports I can understand. So, Ott kind of sounds like Lance Stevenson, when he was on the Pacers. Remember when he was blowing in LeBron's ear in the playoffs?
Yes.
Or, Cortland Finnegan. Remember that guy?
I don't.
Cornerback, played for the Titans, a little bit for the Dolphins at the end. It was the guy who, he was okay, except he would always just piss like elite wide receivers off just so much to get in their head. And remember Andre Johnson eventually ripped his helmet off and then started just wailing on him?
Right.
Yeah, that's Cortland Finnegan.
Okay, well, that's basically who he is yet of the NHL.
Oh, well, there you go. Now,
so now you know who he is.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, as a person who's more seasoned in hockey, does it appear like the Blues are ready to, if the Blues lose this game tonight, which they are going to, and go down 3-1, this wraps up at 5, right?
No, it's a 7-game series.
I know, but this wraps up in 5. Like it's
done. Okay, yeah.
They done. They burnt.
Sorry. Yes, I got it. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it would be devastating for them to lose this, because they lost tonight, or they lost on Wednesday night. That's just hard to remember. It's possible they could take the first game, the next game back in St. Louis, but I don't think there's any way they can come back here and win.
Now, St. Louis is kind of a weird town because they absolutely 100% love their baseball. They're pretty apathetic and indifferent towards the Rams, and I kind of get that the St. Louis Blues fan base, as like an objective observer, is kind of more the latter than the former with the Blues. Now, if they go down 3-1 and lose like badly tonight, Game 5 is in St. Louis, I could just see them just mailing it in as far as the fan base, instead of like trying to amp up your team. Hockey teams can come back from a 3-1 deficit. It's happened before, but
right.
I just feel like if the Wild, or when the Wild, or the Wild did eke out a win in tonight in Game 4, that it's pretty much over. Not to get khaki, but
No, I think so. I mean, I think that's a fair assessment. I mean, I don't think there's anything quite like the Chicago fan base. I mean, they're rabid, and I hate the Blackhawks, but I respect the Blackhawks. I mean, they have talent. They can do it all. They don't have to resort to the kind of crap that the Blues have had to resort to try and get ahead in this series. So, yeah, I'd love to see them. I would love to see us win that Game 5 and just be done and be able to rest.
Now, did you see the Winnipeg game against the Ducks when they had the whiteout?
I didn't see that game. The only other series I've been paying attention to is the Blackhawks series.
No, it was cool though, because apparently the Winnipeg Jets, their team moved for a while, and then
Right.
then they came back.
Yep.
And it was their first home playoff game in 19 years, and then they ended up losing 5-4 in overtime because the Ducks came back from like 2 goals in the third period. But it was just so weird. I don't know. Maybe it's just like I don't really get too hyped or too into the nostalgia piece because I didn't even know that the Jets lost a team and then they brought them back. But I guess it's really cool for them.
Well, for me, I think it's, and I've said this on Twitter before, and it's kind of tongue in cheek in some ways that, you know, hockey doesn't belong where it's hot. Like if you can't play outdoor hockey, you probably shouldn't have a team. And, you know, that's going to piss some people off.
Don't act like Bettman wants to sell a team to Cuba. Don't act like that ain't coming.
You know, I'm just saying. I mean, for the major provinces in Canada to not have a team, and you've got teams in, you know, Phoenix and, you know, in Florida and in, you know, LA. Come on. I mean, you know, in Dallas.
Well, let me take a step. All right, so the original 6 are the Bruins, the the Rangers, the Flyers, the Red Wings, and the Phoenix Coyotes.
Yes,
Come
actually,
on.
yes. The Coyotes were definitely before the Blackhawks.
All right,
because those are some diehard fans there.
And the Winnipeg whiteout, you know, it made me think, is like, do you know how you get a big whiteout?
How?
You just have a sale at DSW, baby. Come on. You show up in droves.
That's like one of my favorite stores.
Duh, because it's a giant-ass warehouse store of, like, shoes and purses. I cannot love it.
Well, I don't buy my purses there. I just buy my shoes there. But, yeah, okay. I get it. Or you could say Coach. You could say the Coach store. That's one hell of a white out there.
You coach like Craig T. Nelson?
No.
Fine. Now, all right, so I floated this on Twitter the other day, and I got a lot of no's, but I don't know why. But so right now, you know, the Wild are currently leading the Blues 3-1 in their series, and look like they're destined to smash up against the Blackhawks again in the second round, since they're leading Nashville 3-1 in their series. Now, would you take a Game 7 Stanley Cup Final loss in overtime right now, or let it ride?
Meaning no guarantee to make it to the Cup?
Yep, or let it play out as is, or right now you can have a guaranteed Stanley Cup Final.
But you lose.
Final, not fair. Yeah, but you lose in 7, no overtime.
No way.
Let it
Absolutely.
ride.
Let it ride.
See, that's the
You
thing
control
about...
your own destiny. What good does it do? I mean, I'm sorry, but second place is first loser. So to me, that doesn't mean. I mean, I don't know. To me, you get to the Stanley Cup and you lose, still a loser.
Yeah, see, that's the awesome thing about hockey, because any team can get hot anytime. Like, we've seen 8 seeds win the Stanley Cup before, and it's not like baseball. All right, so the Twins lose the 7 games of the World Series. Would you take that right now? Hell yeah.
Well, I mean, look at what our choices are. That's a little different, and quite frankly, like you said, it's different with hockey. Let's say your goaltender has a bad night and suddenly he's completely messed up in the head, and we'll look at Crawford. I mean, so things can happen, and you just never know. So I like this team. I mean, I've been watching the Blackhawks games, and they're really good, and it scares me to play them. But this is not the same Wild team that has played them in the past, and I really feel like watching the Predators, they're not playing very good defense. I think
suck.
I mean, right? And I was kind of relying on them to take the Blackhawks out, and I'm like, forget it, we'll just do it ourselves. Thanks for nothing.
Wolves take the Cavaliers to the brink, 7 games, and they lose. I'll take that.
I would take that. Is that sad? It's just really sad.
Well, I mean, yeah, the Wild have.
You know, I think about it this way: the Wolves haven't ever been there. You know, and of course the Wild haven't been to the Stanley Cup, but when we had the North Stars here, they had.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, I understand. Plus, this state of hockey, higher expectations on the hockey team rather than the Wolves. Speaking of high expectations, let's move on to the purple football team that inhabits our state. And Adrian Peterson was reinstated last Friday. Big deal or no deal?
No deal. Everyone expected it.
Yeah,
he
it was
clearly got his taxes filed in time, and that was, kind of one of the deals that he had. He had to, there's like a condition of things he had to do, and one of them was getting your taxes filed by the 15th. So, good on you, Adrian.
So yeah, I wouldn't have put it past him to like mess up like 2 things on that laundry list of things to do, and just be like, yeah, it was. Now, did you see Dogra's Facebook picture of the? All right, so he's sitting in a chair, like trying to look like Scarface, even though he looks like, I don't know, like some pudgy Verizon store salesman. Now, he's got Adrian's Vikings jersey, like the Road 2012 version, like draped over the back of the chair, and he's just chilling there with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers hat. Now, Tampa's sort of been lukewarm in the Adrian sweepstakes, could be the dark horse. Now, he didn't clarify, but Vikings Twitter and all the forums just kind of blew up saying like, oh.
He was just totally trolling. I don't know why people even pay him any attention. I mean, it's clearly just kind of a middle finger at Rick Spielman and at the Vikings and probably the fans that don't support him anymore, and everyone's just whatever. I mean, he's a douchebag. I mean, he's a giant douchebag.
With this crooked-ass smile.
Oh, he is so unprofessional. I mean, I can't even believe that he represents the elite athletes that he does. I mean, clearly he can get his job done, and clearly Adrian doesn't really care that much about having someone who is professional. He just wants to get paid and play where he wants, and that's the agent's job. But to me, it was extremely, extremely unprofessional.
Well, see, I think there is a bit of a method to the madness, and if I was an athlete, I would love having Dogra in there because he's not afraid to be the douchebag, the center of fans and fan base's ire. Because if this goes south or even if it works out, everyone's going to be mad at Dogra still, and they're not really mad at Adrian all that much anymore because Dogra is kind of taking the heat off of him.
I don't know if I necessarily buy that. I don't think you pin it. I don't think the fans are generally going to pin this on the agent.
Well, I suppose since Adrian hasn't really done himself any favors with the way he's been acting.
Exactly.
But I guess we'll kind of see how it shakes out because if he doesn't get moved by the draft or after the draft's over, I don't think he's getting moved.
No, I think to me, I've kind of felt in my gut that something was they had some understanding with a team or two. And if nothing comes to fruition before the draft, then no, I think he stays in purple. Whether he plays or not is another story.
I think it would go to the end of the first round. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if he gets traded during the first round. Like,
oh no, okay, you're correct. That could absolutely positively happen. If the second round comes up and he's nothing's happened, I think he stays because I think they're holding out for a first.
And I agree with you. I think that I've been preaching this for a long time that I think that Rick does have some contingency deals in his back pocket. Arizona, possibly Dallas, Jacksonville, maybe. Tampa, possibly.
Now with Dallas, I mean, with Greg Hardy getting 10 games unpaid. That frees up some money right there.
Well, I think his deal was mostly incentive-based. I think they're actually expecting him to be shackled for a little bit. But
well, yeah, I think Jones came out. Jerry Jones even came out and said that we expected this. It is what it is. We're not going to appeal. I mean, I don't know if Hardy's going to appeal, but it sounded like the team was resigned to yes, we knew this was going to happen.
Now, see, my ideal draft scenario, and next week's show will be all draft talk, but I just want to sneak this nugget in here. My dream currently would be if Sure falls to the Vikings at 11, booyah, and then Jacksonville gets on the horn with Rick, and they agreed to trade the number 36 pick, which is the third or fourth pick of the second round, and cornerback Aaron Colvin for Adrian. Boom. And then Rick takes that number 36 pick along with a fourth-round pick, moves up with his old friend Bill Belichick up to 32 again, so we got that sexy fifth-year option, and then takes Byron Jones, the cornerback out of UConn. So we got 17 cornerbacks now, and we got a huge-ass offensive lineman that we can just plug and play for a decade, and we're off to the races.
You know what? That's sexy, Andy. I love that. I actually really, really love it. I like Jones a lot. I like what you can get for him, as far as in the draft order, like where he's going to fall. I love Scherf. I mean, if we can get him at 11, hell yes, you get that. You got to protect our boy.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
you can't rely on Khalil to do that.
Yeah. And my favorite thing about it is I wouldn't rule it out of Rick's wheelhouse. I could see him doing it.
Rick is crazy, like a fox smart. I mean, he's made a couple of less than stellar decisions, Christian Ponder, but I trust him. I mean, I really do trust him, and he's sneaky. He's got something up his sleeve. I just feel it.
And plus, we got Xavier, then Byron Jones and Aaron Colvin now. We can move one of them to safety, sure, why not? Josh Robinson, heck, maybe Josh Robinson could play safety. Who knows? That's the new in vogue thing, is to move cornerbacks to free safety.
Okay, well, I don't really like that idea, but can we just clone Harrison?
I suppose. That would break the machine, though.
That's okay, as long as we got 2 Harrisons out of the deal. That would work.
All right, speaking of 2 Harrisons, let's get to the schedule that dropped Tuesday night, and there's only going to be 1 Harrison playing on this. Sorry, Di. But let's walk through this. Now, was there anything that stood out to you when the schedule dropped last night?
There was a whole lot of stuff on Twitter and people speculating and all of this. And, one of the things that stood out was, oh, God, I got to find it now. Oh, I can't even remember what it was. There was just, everybody's losing their minds. It's like they've already decided that the Vikings are going to be, 6-10 or, I've seen like 5-11, because they've looked at this schedule. And there are parts of this schedule that are going to be tough. This is not like a horrifically bad schedule. Mm-hmm. I went through and rated my win-loss for every game.
Ooh, yeah, let's jump into that. But first, a couple of things stood out to me is that 3 home games in December. Now, I don't really know if that's going to be a benefit or a detriment. It is going to be nice to be home. I still don't know if this team's built to be an outdoor physical team yet.
They're not, and here's the problem. They are playing the Bears and the Giants.
And Seattle.
Well, Seattle's not going to have we'd have an advantage over Seattle in that respect.
What?
Really?
Seattle.
Yes.
Seattle is...
It doesn't get... Where does Seattle play?
I know they're a different team on the road, except they're built to be an outdoor cold weather team.
But it's not like Minnesota cold.
And plus
I
the
still
bank...
think we're going to lose that game, but I'm just...
The bank does get louder than Sedgerling. Come on. Or Quest, or whatever they call it nowadays. Who knows? Let's see here. The bye is in week 5. We only have 2 consecutive road games once during the schedule, Detroit and Chicago. So even then, the regional away game, so not so bad. 2-3 p.m. starts, and then week 17, Teddy makes his debut at Lambeau. Hopefully, fingers crossed if he's healthy. Come on, baby.
I got it. I don't like that. I do not like that week 5 bye. Week 5 bye. I think it's going to be a little later, like 3 games later would have been perfect. But, you can't have everything.
Yeah. Well, it's luck of the draw. We got spoiled by a later bye last year. I think it was like week 10 was our bye.
Yes, I think it was 10.
Yeah. But, see, I'm actually kind of optimistic, especially since it's not like last year where it was a murderer's row the first 6 games, where if we escape 2-4, which I think we did, we're doing all right. But let's walk through these games here real quick. Just give me win, loss, why, and we'll see how the Vikings do. Because I did this on Purple for the Win the other day, not with the schedule, but just by like who our road and home opponents were. Mm-hmm. And I forget what I predicted, so this is going to be new to me anyways. So
and it could be totally different.
Teddy, Monday Night Football, the second of the Monday night games in the debut opening weekend. Teddy at the 49ers. What say you, Di?
I got that as a big fat W, Andy.
Me too, because I think San Francisco is going to be garbage this year. Like literal, straight up, not even like good suburban garbage. Like literal nuclear waste, dead pig scraps out of a like a Chinese butcher shop or butchering plant that doesn't have regulations or anything like that. Yeah.
Ew. Yeah, they're going to be terrible. I mean, I really
don't-
do. I think they're going to be a shit show.
I don't believe in Tom Sula. I don't believe Kaepernick when he's away from Roman, even though that's probably going to really help him. And they lost Willis. Bowman still might not be ready. They lost Chris Borland, the kid who retired. I mean, they're going to be bad. And I'm glad we have them early because they might figure out later, but they're going to be bad to start. So that's a big win as well. All right, so 1-0, week 2, home game, debut at the bank, beautiful sunny weather, September 20th, hosting the Lions. What you got?
I hated to do it, but I said a loss.
I'm going to give it.
Do you know why?
Why?
I just think that the Lions. It depends on which Stafford shows up, obviously, but I mean they still have talent. Their defense is still really good. As long as they don't pull the LOL Lions like they usually do, I think they're going to beat us, even at home.
I really like their defense. I think Van Noy, Tulloch, and Levy are probably the best linebacking core in the NFL if they're healthy. And plus they got their defense coordinator, what's his name? Anyways, they have him back for another year. And it does give me a little concern because it's so early in the schedule that Megatron might actually be healthy. But I'm going to go with a win.
Okay.
Because why not? YOLO. Week 3 on CBS for a change. We're hosting the Chargers. Die, what you got?
W.
All right, so you got 2-1. I got a win as well, especially if they end up trading Rivers and then end up getting Mariota. I mean, a rookie quarterback. Zimmer eats them for breakfast.
Oh, geez. He would have that's like his ideal. That's like his wet dream, for sure.
Speaking of Zimmer's wet dreams, week 4 at Mile High. Late game versus the Broncos. Die, what you got?
I got that as a loss.
Yeah, I got that one.
It's going to be kind of lopsided, too. I think it's going to be a really good challenge for this defense, and I think they'll learn a lot from it, but I think they're going to take a loss.
I think it's going to be a really fun game, especially for Vikings fans who usually don't get the late starts, so everyone's going to be day drunk. And it's unfortunate that we got the Broncos early in the schedule. I would love the Broncos about week 7, week 14, week 15 when Peyton's hurt. But
he's been beat up for 13 games.
Yeah, it's going to be early. He's going to have something to prove. And I don't think it'll be lopsided. I think Teddy and the defense will hold their own, but I still got it as a loss. All right, so week 5, bye. Week 6, back on CBS, home hosting the Chiefs. What you got?
That's a win.
I got a win as well. So I got the Vikings at 4-1, and you have them at 3-2 because you're such a pessimist. Week 7.
I'm just not a homer.
Week 7 at Detroit. What you got?
I have that as a loss. I think we're going to split with Detroit.
Yeah, I'll chalk that one.
Oh wait,
up.
no. No, I have us losing 2 to Detroit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're negative Royce over there now.
Oh, stop. Well, he does follow me.
Well,
on Twitter,
Christian Ponder has had more passing yards in 2013. But all right, so week 8, November 1st, at Chicago, where we never, ever, ever win. Die, what you got?
And we're going to win.
Actually, I have that as a win, too.
They are a complete hot mess right now.
Now, see, that I hate to say it, but I really like John Fox. I really like Adam Gase. But I feel like they're going to get together, except Cutler.
Well, yeah, there's some things you just can't overcome, and Cutler is one of them.
And the Chicago game was the game where I actually had some doubt about Teddy. A couple of those balls really fluttered in that Windy City air, and especially that last one that got picked off trying to force it to Charles Johnson, but he turned around. All right, so I got the Vikings at 5-2. You have them at 4-3. Week 9, hosting the Rams. What you got?
I have a win because the Rams.
I got a win as well. Week 10 at the Raiders. What you got?
That's if anybody actually seriously picked the Vikings to lose that game, they should probably just be slapped.
Derek Carr is going to be benched, and Christian Ponder, just like he did in the preseason at TCF in week 2 or whatever it is, he will show off once again why he's Christian Ponder.
He will ride in to completely ruin the day.
All right, week 11, Vikings hosting the Packers. What you got?
That one I have as a win.
I have a win too. Damn it, I'm going to have them go 14-2.
Jesus, Andy.
Week 12 at Atlanta, what you got?
I think you're going to lose. As much as I hate Atlanta.
I got to win, because screw Atlanta and their crowd noise. Week 13, hosting the
I'm sorry.
Seahawks.
You are Andy, right? I'm not talking to PA. Or, I'm sorry, Wabi.
Let's go. Actually, I think PA had them going 13-3.
Of course he did.
Some of that.
Wabi
Now,
probably had them
by
going
the way,
16-0.
I should preface this that all my picks are with or without Adrian, because I actually don't think he makes that big of a deal.
Oh, I didn't even consider that when I
know that's an extremely hot take, but I figured if we do trade Adrian, we're going to be getting some decent value, whether that be a first-round pick, second-round pick, whatever. And, we're going to have to learn to play without him sometime. So, boom, there you go. Week 13, hosting Seattle, what you got?
got that as a loss.
I got that as a win. All right, we're going to lose. Fine.
Yeah, we're going to lose. But you know what? It's going to be a lot closer than it would have been in years past, and we'll learn from it.
Week 14, the mandatory Thursday night football game on NFL Network at Arizona. What you got?
I said a loss.
Fortunately, I got that one as a loss as well. Arizona's really good. Really
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Plus,
it's really good.
Plus, this one could be the Adrian welcome home or the Adrian revenge game. The Raiders could be the Adrian revenge game. Who knew? Who knows?
The Raiders?
Yeah, if I was Spielman, I would just trade him to the Raiders and just be like, screw
So
you,
would I.
Adrian.
But it's not like they're going to win, even with Adrian.
Yeah.
You'd have to clone him like 5 times.
All right, so I have the Vikings currently at 9-4. You would have them at 7, and I don't know, so we'll figure it out. Week 15, hosting the Bears. What do you got?
We're going to win.
I got that as a win as well. Week 16, hosting the Giants. What you got?
Win.
I got the as a win too. I think Eli might be in full meltdown, and Coughlin actually might be fired by now.
Right, that's a distinct possibility.
The Tisches and the Mariners never do that to him, even though they might be 4-11 at this point. But yeah. All right, so going to the last game of the season, I have the Vikings at 11-4, and you have them at, I'm doing math, 9-6. All right, so week 17 at Lambeau.
I'm going to have to go back and change one answer after this one.
The division is, change it now before we get to the Packers.
Okay, so I want to change my answer for, I don't have the weeks listed, but when we played Detroit here the second week,
Yep.
I'm going to change that to a W. I think we split with Detroit.
All right, so you have them at 10-5. I have them at 11-4 going into week 17 at Green Bay, at Lambeau. This could decide the division, very much so. Di, what you got?
I have us losing that game.
I actually have us losing 2, but more because we're resting our starters because Green Bay is 3-12, and we're sitting there at 11-4 just chilling. Got the division locked up, getting ready for our number 2 seed, going into the playoffs, and we're good. Just mail it in. Send out Balthazar because we're going to re-sign Balthazar.
Yeah, I really hope not.
All right, fine. So I got the Vikings at 11-5. Di has them at 10-6. A Rube Nation taking over.
You really had him at 11-5? It sounded like you had him at like 14-2.
It seemed that way, but
It
no,
did.
I somehow combo 5 losses out there. We got also the Wolves are in the lottery, but who cares? Drawings on May 19th. 25% chance of getting the number 1 pick. The worst we can do is 4th. Excited or not?
I kind of am. I mean, it's the Wolves, and they're so cursed that I'm so pessimistic that I think they're just going to get the 4th pick. You just by default. But I really want Towns, and I like that kid a lot, and so I'm hoping that we can get 1st or 2nd because I think we can get him. I think Okafor might go 1st, and then we can get Towns at 2nd. So that's my hot take.
Yeah, I kind of get that feeling too because I feel like we're either going to get Okafor, Towns, or Willie Cauley-Stein if somehow we end up 4th, which I wouldn't be mad at.
Well, I mean, it's certainly better than
Peck.
seriously.
Yeah. And going out on that sour note, we're going to take a break real quick. We'll come back with some die time, some football quickies, including Tebow, your Twitter questions as well. Andy Must Die, episode 11. We're all grown up here. The Purple for the Win podcast is your one-stop shop for the team you hate that you love. That's right, dedicated to the pain and pleasure that is the Minnesota Vikings. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube for our weekly and bi-weekly mediocrity. And, of course, there's always purpleftw.com. Because, you know, aside from nipple clamps and chains and whips, cheering for the Purple People Eaters is probably the most pleasurable pain you can experience on this planet. So come on in. For the mediocre analysis and the more mediocre humor, purpleftw.com. That's right, purpleftw.com.
Straight cash, homie.
And coming back from the break, now we kind of got to get the stink of Peck off of our collective minds again. And let's do some public shaming, which is kind of apt to do in social media nowadays. But then again, sometimes people really deserve it, and then this is obviously a case of someone really deserving it. So, Di, why don't you tell us a bit about Little Miss Thang, Brit McHenry?
Okay, and I'm sure by now, unless you live under a rock, you know who Brit McHenry is, but she's an ESPN reporter, and not a very good one, might I add. But she got into, her car was towed, and she had to go down and get it from the towing company, and she was such a complete witch to this poor woman working as a cashier at the towing company. And lo and behold, it's caught on videotape, and so everybody gets to see and hear her tirade firsthand. And it was brutal. I mean, the things that came out of her mouth, it was, I mean, horrible. It was just, telling the woman like her teeth are crooked and she's uneducated and, she's fat. I mean, it went on and on and on. And it was this poor woman is just simply trying to do her job. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if Brit got a look at herself in that surveillance camera. She didn't look so good there. So, maybe she should not be throwing stones when you look like you should probably eat a sandwich or two, maybe put a little makeup on. I don't know. If you're gonna be throwing stones at people for their appearance, you should maybe make sure you got yourself in check. And it didn't really look like she did.
Well, my thing about this is, well, first of all, you never treat anyone like that. Like a rule of thumb is you can tell if a person's like a genuinely nice person by how they treat waiters, waitresses, bartenders, etc. The people who, treating people who can't really do anything for you or quasi below your station. That's probably not the best way to put it. But anyways, what really kind of makes me sad about this is that this is going to be another women in the media. We shouldn't take them seriously. Look at these blonde sideline reporters. They don't know sports and they're not good human beings. And I feel like that's a bad rap because now every single sideline reporter or female in the sports media is going to get lumped in with Brit McHenry. Whereas if it was a guy like, say, Chris Berman, just went off on someone like that in a very similar situation, it's not going to be like, oh, all men in sports media are just imbeciles and pigs and terrible people. But that's how it's going to come across with Brit McHenry.
Yes, you totally stole my thunder with that, Andy. But
sorry, damn it.
You are absolutely correct, though. I mean, it is.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. I mean, it needs to be said, and I'm glad, and I figured you'd believe that. I mean, you're a good guy. And what you said about how people treat, certain sets of people, like I don't understand why people think they get anything out of treating people, waiters, waitresses, cashiers, whatever. I mean, they're just people working their job to support their families or themselves. Mm-hmm. They're doing their job. And she is so freaking self-absorbed and entitled. And I mean, she on the inside is such an ugly person. And I did have a kind of a little close up just for Brit. So can I gotta go off on that right now?
Oh yeah.
All right. Here's the thing, Brit. You read a teleprompter for a living. You have a producer in your ear who tells you what to say because you're not smart enough to say it for yourself. So go ahead and make fun of that poor woman who is simply trying to do her job because you somehow think that you are both hot and smart, neither of which I seem to think you are. You're nothing more than a dumb blonde reading headlines. And if ESPN actually valued your thoughts and your takes, they wouldn't be having you read a teleprompter and tell you what to say in your ear. They would actually have you giving your insight. That's pretty much that. We can lump that in there, but I kind of want to talk a little bit about the punishment she received, because I think getting suspended for a week after publicly humiliating this woman and acting like a complete asshat, she gets a slap on the wrist of a week. So I kind of did a little bit of research. So here's the lesson that I received from ESPN on this suspension. If you criticize the NFL commissioner for being a liar and being weak on domestic violence, you get suspended for 3 weeks. Ask Bill Simmons. Criticize ESPN management, you get suspended for a week. That was Kornheiser for criticizing his bosses on his show. So publicly ridicule, mock, insult, and harass an innocent, towing company employee, you get suspended for a week. So yeah, I can kind of see how that, that all really works out. Not so much. I mean, I think she should have been fired, personally.
It did kind of seem like the week suspension was the, hey, let the heat die down a little bit, and then we'll get back to you. But this is going to follow her around. Like, if I'm a player, she covers like primarily Washington teams. So if I'm a Washington football player and I'm being interviewed by Brit McHenry, come on. I mean, that's going to be in the back of your mind that you can't take this person serious because of what she said and did.
Well, and I know someone that has worked with her. I'm Twitter friends with someone who covers one of the NBA teams out in Washington, and he said she's a horrible person. Like she's dumb. She's very stuck up. Nobody likes her. So I mean, she's pretty ugly on the inside, and apparently other people notice too, not just poor towing company employees.
I went to Northwestern, honey.
She probably slept with their professors. Oh, did I just say that out loud?
All right, marking that 45 for 3 because that's the intro. All right. And, yeah, I mean, this is probably this is going to follow her for the rest of her career. ESPN, like, I'm not a big lose your job type person unless it's coaches because, that's always fun and, what I mean. But this one was a fireable offense, mostly because she brought in the fact is like she tried to use her job and her station to belittle this person. Like, I'm in the news, blah, blah, blah. And that reflects badly on the company. And
also, I'm going to sue you, and don't you know who I am? I mean, it was just this whole kind of entitlement thing, and I absolutely think she should have been fired.
Oh, the don't you know who I am? That's my favorite
well, she did. I mean, line. She didn't even specifically say that, but it was the I'm in the news, and I'm in this, and I'm that, and it's like, I'm educated, and it's like, big whoop. You have a college degree.
Like the Hope Solo and Jeremy Stevens DUI when they're driving around the U.S. Women's National Team van, they dropped a "Don't you know who we are?" or the what's her name? Reese Witherspoon DUI
with her husband though, wasn't it? Her husband.
Oh yeah,
gets pulled over, and then she gets out and is like, "Don't you know who I am?" Guess
That's
what?
the same thing.
They don't care.
Yeah, and I don't think people are going to care about Brit McHenry coming up because I don't know. The cream always rises in this generally, you like to think, and with this little stain on her and the fact that she's not that great at her job even and her work is routinely trashed by her peers, bye.
Yeah.
Bye. Have fun doing Sun Belt, Troy versus Alcorn State games coming up.
Well, and it's like she's not even going to like be a color commentator or calling the games. She's going to be like doing how is the game going, and just like sticking her microphone in somebody's face, and then the producer's going to be telling her what questions to ask, because that's all she is. ESPN seems to think that men are stupid, and I don't know if most men are aware of this, but they put those blonde airheads out there for a reason because they think that's what men want. And quite frankly, I think it's insulting to men because I think if you ask most men, they would rather have a woman like Michelle Tafoya who actually knows what the hell she's talking about. And she's attractive. I mean, she's not unattractive. I mean, not all the men on TV, ESPN or whatever are attractive, but a lot of them are. So I'm not saying it's a total double standard, but I think they're really underestimating what it is that male viewers want.
Well, you got the hots for Lee Corso. Come on.
No, not really.
Digger Phelps? Yeah.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, I understand what you mean. And yeah, as a male who does watch a lot of sports, I really don't even care about the sideline reporters, especially looks-wise. I mean, honestly, if they can do the job, whether it's a male, female, I don't really care. If they can pass on actual information that is, not just fluff and, pomp and circumstance, I'm all for that. And I really don't care about looks. And, this came up, I'm sure we probably discussed this, or I might have talked about this with Claire, about when they replaced Pam Oliver with Erin Andrews.
Right.
And it was perceived as the whole looks thing. Pam Oliver is a true professional and, a fox. I'm not going to lie.
She's hot.
Pam Oliver is hot. I can't even deny that. Michelle Tafoya, too. Sneaky hot.
Yep.
Like Minnesota, down-to-earth, girl next door type hot. Also, like mom hot.
Mom hot.
That's a thing?
Is that a thing now? Is it mom hot?
That's a thing.
Okay.
All right. Well, we got to be moving along, but any last words for Miss McHenry before she goes off to the abyss?
I feel like I can't even really say anything redeeming about her or to her because she lives in this world where she's hot shit and there are many people beneath her. And I feel sorry for her. I mean, karma's a bitch and someday she's going to get hers. And I hope somebody has a camera. I hope somebody's recording it because I think most of America would like to see it.
This is going to be like the Adrian thing where everyone and their mom is going to be digging for her extra stuff. Like, there'll be a studio time where she absolutely flipped out on some production assistant, like the Chris Berman tape.
Yeah.
You ever seen that?
Yes.
You know that something like that's going to pop up and it's going to be delicious.
Well, people were already interviewing people she went to school with, and they were like, yeah, she was a horrible bitch. Everybody hated her.
It's understandable. Let's get to someone who people actually like. Maybe not for football-wise, but Tebow's back. Hey, excited.
No, and I really wish someone could explain to me why teams are so obsessed with this guy. No, I mean,
it's Chip Kelly.
Well, okay, granted, but
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm glad ESPN's holding his job for him because he's going to need it.
Now, here's what I think is going to happen. I think that Chip Kelly wants to prove that he's smarter than everyone else, and what better way to do it than making Tebow work. Now, there still might be some changes to the extra point, and say they move the try to the 1-yard line, which entice teams to go for it for 2 more. Chip loves going for 2 anyways. He does not give a fudge. And Tebow, as a 2-point conversion specialist, would be borderline unstoppable. I'm not going to lie.
I just can't, Andy. It's Tim Tebow.
Because you need a yard. The guy can throw it good enough in a small space, and he's going to be a bear to tackle still. And what are you going to do? It's going to be like run to the Wildcat with a better thrower down there.
I still, no. Just
delicious.
I mean, he's a very, very attractive man. Just let him be on TV. I mean, he can make a good living doing that.
Speaking of good living, Greg Jennings signed a 2-year deal in Miami.
I heard that. I'm happy for him. I mean, yeah. I wasn't super sorry to see him go from a football standpoint, but I mean, he's a great guy. I mean, he does a lot in the community. I know he's still going to live here. He loves it here. So I was glad to see him catch on. Miami's going to be a pretty decent team.
Kind of glad we don't have to play him this year.
Well, yeah, me too.
Well, we'll lose on a walk-off safety because of Leffler, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't think he'll be the long snapper, but there we go.
Yeah, about him. Twitter questions. First one is from Jonathan Dreyer. Should the T-Wolves make a run at Scott Brooks as their next head coach? Scott Brooks, recently relieved of his duties by the Oklahoma City Thunder. What say you, Di?
I asked this question kind of on Twitter because I don't follow the NBA as closely, like outside of, the Western Conference or whatever. If you can't win with Durant and, oh my God, Westbrook, then, I think I could win with Durant and Westbrook. So
They also had Harden for a while there.
And right, okay. So, he had...
How messed up is that?
He had every freaking opportunity. And, there was injuries and stuff, and you can't put that all on him, but I don't know. I'm going to say no. I don't think this is the right place for him.
He got to the finals once, so he's that in his back pocket. But I don't think Flip is going to turn over the reins to someone who's not like a sexy name. Like, if for some reason, Thibodeau gets let go by the Bulls, and if he can get Tibbs in the door here, I could see Flip stepping aside, but not for Scott Brooks.
No. Because Flip's doing a good enough job. I think he's a really good GM. He's an okay coach. He had to come in as coach because no one wanted to come in and try and coach this dumpster fire when he stepped in. But I think as the pieces are coming together, then you're right. It's gonna draw somebody in, somebody with a name or with a pedigree, and I think he'll be willing to step back at that point.
All right, 3 more Twitter questions. This next one's from Justin Jelinek, host of the State of Hockey podcast. Rank the Twins, Vikings, Wild, and Wolves in terms of success in the next 5 years.
I go Vikings, Wild, Wolves, Twins.
I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to say Wild, Vikings, Wolves, Twins. Now, the Vikings are going to have some great success, except I feel like the Wild have a young nucleus, and if they can keep it together,
well,
isn't Parisi signed through like 27, 39?
Right, but you have to realize that in the next 5 years, your major leaders are going to be up there. As far as average, NHL player age. So
what are you talking about? Skating is easy on the joints. There's no impact. It's not like running.
Right, slamming into the boards. That's really easy on the joints. That's no problem.
Yep.
I think the Vikings have a much younger team, and I like their coaching staff. Zimmer aside, I completely trust Zimmer. I think as far as a complete coaching staff, I'm sorry, I had that backwards. I think the Wild, their coaching staff, I like Yo. I'm not entirely sure about everybody else. The Vikings have a more complete coaching staff. What?
Except when the Vikings go 11-5, win the NFC North, and then make a run and eventually lose in this year's NFC title game, North's going to get another head coaching job, and he's gone.
Okay, why do you have to go and rain on my parade? Pissing my Wheaties like that, Andy, really?
Poor Norv. That could actually be the worst thing that could happen for him because he would fail again as a head coach.
But you know what? I think he's almost smart enough to realize that he's where he needs to be. Although, these guys have such huge egos. He'd probably still take a run at it.
The Raiders job.
Oh, God.
All right. Next one is from Logan Mironov-Chin, very avid listener of Andy Must Die as well as Purple for the Win. Not that the Vikings would ever trade up, but what's the most realistic, palatable situation, I guess you could see?
Oh, I don't know. I think what you suggested earlier was perfect. Let's do that.
Oh, with the Jaguars and their second-round pick?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's make it happen.
I think there is one that I could see. Let me get the draft list up real quick. All right, so the Raiders. The poor Raiders. They're chilling there at the number 4 overall pick. And then they're like, all right, give us the 11 pick and give us Adrian, and we'll swap. I could be okay with that, especially if a guy like Dante Fowler is still on the board. Just plug him in at left defensive end, buy B-Rob, and then we're off to the races again.
Okay, but...
Yeah.
I know B-Rob he's getting up there, and, he's got a whole fishing career ahead of him, and I don't think he's going to be sorry to ride off into the sunset. I just want one more year. Bring the kid in and let him mentor him or something, but I'm going to miss the shit out of that guy.
Yeah, well, Zim rotates his DNs and D linemen anyway, so B-Rob probably have 1 or 2 more years. Might have to take a pay cut next year, a la Greenway.
I think he would, actually.
Yeah.
I really do.
Besides, I mean, once you got the boat, how much does tackle and bait really cost on top of it?
Well, he
Not
does.
much.
He does have a wife, so those are
She a fisher
expensive.
too? Yeah, there you go. Last one is from Nick's son. Oh, actually, piggyback off that. Adrian straight up for Khalil Mack with the Raiders. Baby. Heartbeat.
I don't think they would do that.
That would be so... I would even throw in a third-round pick. The Khalil Mack and Anthony Barr in a Zimmer defense. Oh, my God.
Do you know the carnage? Could you imagine the dead bodies, like, all over the place?
Aaron Rodgers wouldn't score. Actually, probably would, but not much.
He'd probably be in pieces on the field.
See, I would make that happen. Adrian and a third-round pick, maximum.
I'd do
Khalil
that.
Mack,
I'd do that.
Straight up.
I'd do it.
Baby.
They're not going to do it, but I'd do that.
There you go. Last one is from Nick's son. Current favorite TV show?
Chopped.
Except Chopped is like omnipresent. What about like with the storyline? You know, like Sons of Anarchy is done. Have you moved on to another show?
No, I haven't. I really haven't. It's my TV is on. It's usually Food Network, HGTV, or some sort of sporting event.
That's actually pretty much exactly like ours too. Like Chopped, fantastic. We actually really like Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives because I find Guy Fieri entertaining. A little annoying, but overall entertaining.
He's just kind of a douche. He's got the douchey thing going for him, but he embraces it. So you can't hate on that.
Fixer Upper.
I am in love with those people.
I know, and plus they have mixed children as well. And I'm actually betting with my wife that our kids are gonna look like their kids, even though I'm not sure she's Asian, 100%. She looks Asian though.
There's something about I mean, I love them. They're so cute together. I just absolutely, and her style is so my style.
Boom. Let's see. I'm really embarrassed to admit it, but I started watching the show Empire, and I really like it. I can't even lie about it.
Well, what I do is I reserve those kind, the hot shows or whatever for the summer because twins. I generally don't have them on a whole lot. So I'll get into something. I still haven't watched the last season of Sons.
Oh, so you don't even know.
Don't tell me because I will hate you for life.
Oh, okay. Can I give you a mild spoiler?
No.
Okay, fine. It'd be a happy one.
Shut it.
Fine. I'm kind of like that too. Like with Netflix and Hulu Plus and Amazon Prime nowadays, it's like I can't go back to watching a show week by week where you have to carve out your schedule, you have to be popped in front of the TV and blah blah blah. I mean, even with DVR, but binge watching is the way to go. So I'll start watching shows that are like a couple seasons in, or the other season just wrapped up, just like Empire, and then just go for it.
That's what I did with Sons because I didn't start watching it until I think it was the 6th season. So it was gonna start, and I'm like, I binge watched the first 5 seasons. Oh my god, the 3rd season was kind of long, but the rest were fantastic. I will say though that the one show that I do watch regularly that's has a storyline or whatever, Downton Abbey. It's so good. So
I know.
good.
I kind of like that show too, except that it's another one I hate to admit. Well, all right. So circling back to Sons real quick before we go, one of my favorite things about it is that they weren't afraid to kill off like any main character at any point. So you have to watch every episode. You're like, oh my god, someone could get it today, and it'd be like the 3rd episode of the 4th season, and then like boom, that happens.
Yeah, that was an excellently written show. I mean, they didn't pull any punches. It was, you're right. I mean, you had no idea what the hell was going to happen.
I mean, like when Opie died, spoiler alert.
I bawled. It was horrible.
It was like, oh my god.
Like that was he was like probably my favorite character. I'm like, are you kidding me? Yeah. I mean, they had absolutely gold mine in that show.
All right. Anything exciting for you coming up?
Just my trip. And, school ending soon. I think I have
So 11 days. So is that going to be right after the draft? Oh, are you going to be in Vegas during the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight?
No, we fly out the day after.
Oh.
I hope Pacquiao kicks his ass.
Yeah, there's rumors that it might not even go down.
Because they haven't signed a contract.
Yeah.
Yeah. How crazy is that?
Yeah, we'll see. Let's see. Coming up from me, live stream. Just 5 hours of me talking to the luminaries of Vikings territory. And also, Di, you should come on the show as well. And just talking our way through the first round of the draft.
I would love
to. Talk about who we get at 11. I mean 12 once we trade down with Cleveland and pick up an extra fourth-round pick. Because why not? Also, who do we pick up at 31 when we trade with the Seahawks? Because we're going to do that too. It's just going to be a great time all around.
You should probably be, Spielman's, right-hand man there at the draft, actually not covering for Vikings territory.
Sponsored by Summit, because there's going to be a lot of EPA going down. And who knows? Maybe by like 11 o'clock, it's going to be like, hey, all right, so that's the win. That's the win. That's the win. 16-0.
I would love to hear that.
Actually, I should see it. Because we're getting a couple sponsors for the live stream. I should see a sponsor or Summit wants to come in. Hey, take that. Keep it local.
So are you guys doing it just all virtually or what?
Yeah. So I'll just be sitting here in my normal spot with the TV on and just recapping and talk about picks. Ooh, damn it, I wish Fowler would have fell. Ooh, I wish Greg would have fell. Yada, yada, yada. So it's going to be like that, except I'll try and keep it entertaining. Yeah, I feel like I have that in me if I'm just talking to myself about movie references that no one else will get.
So who else going to be on from VT?
Let's see, got Arif, got Darren Page, got Brent, got Lindsey Young, got Adam, got Carl Knowles, got Austin Belial. Good times.
So pretty much everybody.
Pretty much everybody.
Awesome.
Yeah, should be a fun time, and I'm excited. I can't lie. Because me talking for 5 straight hours, and that's gold, people. Come on.
Nice.
It's fine. Follow us on Twitter at Andy Must Die. One word. Subscribe to us at iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, every place. Just get all up in that. The website, as always, andymustdie.com. But for now, I'm Andy Carlson, and she is...
Di Murphy.
Thanks for listening. Have an awesome week. Drink lots of Summit. Summit's my favorite beer ever. Brewed right in St. Paul. I don't know if you know that.
It is.
Trying to suck up.
Local. Support the local.
Mean, they could just ship me like a pallet in lieu of actual sponsorship dollars, and we'll be all right.
Good luck with that.
The music was created and produced by Deeb. To hear more of his tracks, check out soundcloud.com/Deeb.
We needed to get this right.